talk about the light heavyweight champ. What is next for DC? What really makes sense? How about we start to run down the options available, Blanco?
Alright, so as you guys know, we do have the several options here. We have DC versus Rumble for the rematch, and then we have Jon Jones versus DC for the rematch, or we have Jon Jones versus Rumble for the interim belt to then fight DC. It almost seems like a love triangle off of fucking Twilight.
So when we talk about love triangles, how about I go ahead and cover Anthony Rumble Johnson? Let's talk about Anthony Rumble Johnson. What are we gonna talk about? Anthony Rumble Johnson. But let me stop that. 2025 record. We're talking about a knockout artist. Let me slow it down so you can grasp what I'm trying to say here. See, when this guy gets into the octagon, it's like everything stops. I mean, he just won, knocked out, stiffed up Glover Teixeira. I mean, boom, right at the beginning. Unbelievable. I mean, we're talking about that's an elite top fighter. In addition to that, he's coming off of a knockout win on Ryan Bader, as well as Jimmy Manuwa. So this guy is getting in the octagon. His last loss was in that triangle love you're talking about against DC.
So this is what I'm gonna go ahead and state here, because as you guys know, there is a battle between who's gonna go ahead and fight, you know, Daniel Cormier. This is what I think should happen, and this is what's gonna be beneficial for the UFC.
What is?
I believe that it is a smart idea to go ahead and have Jon Jones fight Rumble Johnson. The reason being is because you can actually have an interim belt fight under that.
Makes sense.
So you can have someone hold the interim belt to fight DC, and we all know, come on, all of us out here, we all know that Jon Jones did not really lose his title. He lost it because of drugs and...
No, he didn't lose his title, he lost himself. The title just so happened to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So basically, at the end of the day, when it all comes down to this triangle going on, it does make sense. You made a lot of sense when you said Jon Jones against Rumble Johnson. Now, let's just tap into the imagination. If that fight were to be the thing that happened in regards to discovering an interim champ, I feel like Anthony Rumble Johnson will be the one to win. I feel like, I know we have some disagreements out there, but think about it. This guy is spectacular. He's not winning by decision. He's knocking everyone out, and Jon Jones has not been hit hard enough to be knocked out. Wait, one more thing. Did you see when Rumble Johnson hit Daniel Cormier, heavyweight, and dropped down to the light heavyweight? He dropped Cormier with a punch.
This is what I'm going to go ahead and say to that. A lot of fighters have actually stated that fighting Jon Jones in the octagon is like fighting a bear. This guy is big. He is not normal for a light heavyweight. He is just athletically gifted. It is so sad to see his potential going to waste with all of these allegations that he is getting. Now, as you guys can clearly see, I am on the side of Jon Jones. Me and this guy here are having a lot of disagreements on each of these fighters that we are talking about. But Jon Jones wins this fight, and this is why. So, as you guys know, Jon Jones is an amazing striker, not only in Muay Thai. Dude is a beast off of the submissions. From Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you know, he took out Vitor Belfort amazingly with a submission. After he was put in an arm bar, they basically could have broke his arm. He obviously is someone who does not give up on a fight. I think he will eat a punch from Rumble Johnson. I feel like if they went ahead and fought, that Rumble Johnson is a phenomenal athlete in the fact that he can knock you out. But what happens when you get into the third round? What happens when you go into championship rounds? Where does his tank go? Let me know.
That is true. That makes perfect sense there. And just to add to that, this is nothing to discredit Jon Jones. My personal opinion right now is Rumble Johnson, he has that juice, he has that momentum, he has that power. At the end of the day, Jon Jones is a great champ, but it's a new time. But let's not even fixate too much just on these two fighters, because we need to talk about the champ, the actual light heavyweight champ. Exactly. What would make more sense for him? Obviously, we'll do this little love triangle when you take Rumble Johnson and put him back against DC. I mean, Blanco, what happened the first time?
So, I'll let you guys know, Rumble Johnson gave up. Honestly, he got caught on the rear naked choke. He couldn't handle Daniel Cormier. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I'm not too much of a fan of his fighting style, but I do say that I love his presence as a champion. He carries the title well, he carries his aura well, and he was able to get Rumble down on the ground and keep him there. Now, if you are a UFC fan and if you work for the UFC and you are a promoter for the UFC, the fight that's gonna make you the most money is Jon Jones versus DC. Reason being is because the bad blood is behind it. The problem with this is Daniel Cormier is saying that he doesn't want to fight Jon Jones anymore because of the fact that he is suspect. You don't know whether he's going to be able to make it to fight night,
True.
or if he's going to be caught with cocaine, if he's going to go ahead and hit a pregnant lady, if he's going to take dick pills. You don't know what's going to happen.
And that all is true, but given it all, it's really all in the air on what could happen. To me, it wouldn't make sense for Rumble Johnson, even though in my eyes he is the #1 contender. Jon Jones really fell out because of all the things he's been encountering. However, given the way he lost, and not to discredit Rumble Johnson, because let's not forget, he was supposed to fight Jon Jones that night. Jon Jones it didn't work out, and what? He ended up getting a new opponent, and he wasn't prepared. What if he's prepared for Daniel Cormier? It may be a whole different outcome. It will be a whole different outcome. I personally see that Anthony Rumble Johnson is going to be the future light heavyweight champ.
This is where I'm going to go ahead and stop that. I don't think that Rumble Johnson will hold the title at any point as long as Jon Jones is in the talks. This is how I see it happening. I feel like DC is going to end up fighting Jon Jones. There's gonna be a rematch. They can't avoid it. DC won't be able to avoid that fight. I believe Jon Jones will retain his belt. I really do, because I'm such a huge fan of Jon Jones and everything that he is. I feel like he just needs to stop acting dumb with the decisions he is making outside of the octagon. Because inside, he is a legend. He can be the greatest mixed martial artist ever.
So, and that is true. He has a lot of facts behind that. But at the end of the day, when you guys watch this, we want to know what's on your mind, Blanco.
So this is where we'll go ahead and stay here. Who do you think deserves to get that title shot at the light heavyweight division? Do you think that it should be fighting Rumble Johnson and Jon Jones for an interim belt? Do you think Jon Jones should fight DC? Do you think Rumble should fight DC and Jon Jones has to wait for the champion? And do keep in mind, Jon Jones never lost his title in the octagon. I feel like Jon Jones will beat both of those fighters. But please leave a comment down below on what you think. Thumbs up the video. And as always,
speak your mind with Blanco and Blanco.